What's happening, guys? Today's another day down here in Florida, and I bet you guys could guess what we're working on. It's not a tractor, it's a Miata. So here we got a 1.8 Miata. It's got a skunk 2 intake plenum, which actually looks pretty sick in here. Some cobalt coil wires. It's got a ram intake on this side over here. We're checking the timing because it's actually off a tooth. So you come down here and you look at this. The E is supposed to point towards the E and the I is supposed to point towards the I. If you guys look really closely there, the I is off one tooth. So we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna try to loosen up the belt and we're gonna move it over one tooth, and then we're gonna put it all back together. Hopefully the timing doesn't get messed up or anything like that, and I can kind of just pick the belt up, slip it over one, and then put it back on. I don't want to take the rest of this stuff down here off. I already got like 90% of it off, but that last 10% is like the hardest stuff, like the crank and that stuff. So I don't want to take that off because then it's just a mess, guys. So we're gonna try to get this all off and we're gonna try to put this all back together and get this thing running right. The throttle cable was sticking here this morning too. It had a kink in it on this side over here. So I took the throttle cable off the good old Turdbucket V2 over there. The thing's never gonna get done, but we're going to, I swapped that over. I'll get a new throttle cable from Treasure Coast. I want to go up there this weekend possibly and get that. So this is going to be Saturday's video, so I'll go up there tomorrow on Sunday and try to get that, or I'm going to just do some other Miata stuff. My friend Connor wants help with his Miata, so I might just scoot down to Boynton and help him out with that. But this thing's pretty sick. This, if anybody knows, oh look who's coming down right there. He's going to run me over. If anybody knows, this reminds you of which car? This was exactly like my old one here. Wow, he's coming up hot. This is a Montego Blue 1.8, really nice. He's got some stuff on the outside. What do you think about this Miata, Heath?
I like it.
You like it?
How much?
Not for sale.
Not for sale? I'll trade you a truck.
Even if it's current, like ratted out state,
Ratted?
not for sale.
So
It's in one piece.
it's actually this. I had these wheels, this color and everything. My interior was just all black, but we're gonna get this timing all set up, and we'll stay tuned with you guys. We're probably gonna work on this thing a little bit more when he gets it running, and just clean up some stuff like this right here, the wires, and get the engine bay just a little bit more cleaner. Delete the what is that thing over there? Cruise control.
Yeah.
Gonna delete the cruise control and probably move some of this stuff around, clean up some other wiring over here, and just get it really nice for
Shall I
him.
get my title for my new 180 yet?
Yeah.
Okay.
So we're gonna get right back to you guys in a couple minutes once we get this timing all set up. It's getting late here. The Miata's all back together, but now the problem that we're having is that the throttle keeps sticking. We first thought it was a throttle cable, so that's why we switched out the throttle cable. Turns out that it just had a little kink in it. I bent that back, put some PV blaster through the whole line to keep it lubricated, and that's not the problem. It's actually a skunk 2 manifold down here. So this throttle cable here, the throttle itself, when you put it all the way, it doesn't come back all the way, so it stays like open. So now we need to figure out how to bring it back so that it comes back to where it needs to go. And so it's definitely not the cable here, guys, because it's got a lot of slack in it. So when you press this down, it just doesn't come all the way back up. So it just stays like half throttle pretty much. And we got to get it to come back up. So now I'm trying to get off this catch can so that I can get at the throttle so that I can loosen it. I tried loosening the jam nut here on the actual throttle. It should be kind of loose. I was trying to like see if I could wiggle it back and forth, like what's going on here. But now I got to get this catch can off to see what I can do with that. The rest of it's back together. It was only one tooth off on the timing there, so I ended up having to take all the covers off, redo everything. Obviously we Loctited everything that needed to be Loctite and put it all back together. So now we're on to this. So guys, we figured out how to do this here. So we looked it up online and it said that we actually had to, this is the hole where the spring actually sat. We had to drill it about 3/4 of an inch or 3 millimeters, whatever, back. Put the spring in there. It's still bound up a little bit. Maybe I didn't move it far enough back, whatever. I put some grease in there, so now it slides easier. I put some red Loctite on the end here, and I didn't crank on the bolt, so now it springs back really easy there. How do you like that?
I like that.
Like that?
Yep.
I actually put it all back together, and I didn't use the Loctite to hold it down.
Good.
So we're
like
good
that.
there. So now we got to go ahead, put the cable back on. We're not going to put the catch can on just yet. We're going to make sure that we can tune this thing, everything that we need to, so that I can still access this, and then we'll put the catch can on. So let's do that now, guys. What do you think?
So far, so good.
Better than before?
A lot better.
Okay. So, we got all that stuff figured out. We have to figure out the last thing, which is the gauges staying on, but we're gonna have Jack tune the car up so that it's drivability wise right now, and then we're going to check out the gauges to see where they have them powered from, and then I'm just pretty much just gonna put it on to the 12-volt key on from the cigarette lighter, and that should fix the problem with that. And that should take me all of like 10 minutes to do, as long as I can get to all the wires and everything, and then car should be perfectly fine, and then he should be able to take this home tonight. So let's finish up with what we got here. And yeah, guys, this thing brings back so many memories that this turd is not. So we're gonna have to keep working on this thing, and hopefully it might end up like this. So it's a couple hours later, guys, and super late now. The end of the day was very, very rushed there. The customer had to go all the way back down into Homestead, which is past Miami pretty much, almost in the Keys. So he needed to make his long trek all the way back. At the end of the day, we figured out that the fan was wired incorrectly, didn't actually go to the right port in the ECU. We were thinking about putting it on a switch, but then we figured out that there was no actual relay for it. So we had to look at the instructions even more, had to actually do the other shop's work and figure out how that was should have been put up. We ended up figuring out that there was another piece that was missing out of the Flying Miata fan, which is the type of fan that's in it. It's actually a really good fan, guys. Definitely go check it out. If you guys have a Miata and you live in South Florida or anywhere where you're going to do SCCA racing, drifting, all that kind of stuff, it's a really good fan. It's very high powered. But turns out that the coolant temp sensor that needs to be on there so that it'll work properly, it needs a 12-volt constant, a ground, a signal wire that goes to the fan, and then it needs a 12-volt key on source, which we ended up figuring out that we could just take from the original fan relay. So we took the old fan relay out, put our 12-volt switch onto there, and that's how that all worked out, guys. For the actual gauges inside the car, I can actually show you on the Turdbucket V2 here that those were wired incorrectly too. That they had going directly to the key solenoid right here, which is this white and yellow connector right here. They had it just put into one of the wires there, and then they had both of the wires jumpered together. It's a really big mess under there. They had it like grounded onto the chassis over here, so that's not really a good way to do it. If you guys are looking for a good key on 12-volt source for your car, the best one is your cigarette lighter, which is right here on a Miata. It's usually on this in the center console for other cars, but Miata's very tight, so you got it right there. So that is a true key on source. So that means that if the key is completely off, there's no voltage going to it. But as soon as you turn the key on to the accessory position, the power goes to it. So you can use that for your key on 12-volt source. And when you do that, guys, that's how that's supposed to be run. In the long term, though, the customer is very satisfied with his experience here, and I took all day on his car. The timing was off, the electronics were bad, the throttle was sticking, which at the end of the day, it still was sticking a little bit. I don't know if I didn't pack enough grease. I didn't put the spring where it was supposed to be. I don't know if I moved it over enough or what was happening, but we're gonna fix that. The customer's gonna come back next week. He wanted the car to do a track day with tomorrow, so hopefully he can make it through the whole track day. Nothing happens to the car or anything like that. Jack did the drivability, tuned it up for him so that he could actually drive it, go all the way back down there, and then do the racing, and then come back up here next week. In the long term, though, guys, the car needed a quick alignment, so I did that myself. All the alignment shops were closed by the time we were leaving here, So I just did an eyeball alignment. I'm pretty good at it because I do all the alignments on the 180 by eye, and this thing drives pretty straight all the time. The only thing that I can't really do is I can't really get the steering wheel to always be straight. So his steering wheel was a little off. Same with the 180. The steering wheel is a little bit off to the side. But with actually putting on the alignment rack, which we're going to do next week when he comes back up, it'll be all fixed that way. So we tackled a bunch of stuff, fixed the throttle pretty good. We got the fan to work properly, timed it right, got the gauges to work with the way that they're supposed to, tuned the car, and yeah, customer's happy. He's got to come back. Turdbucket V2, guys. If you guys want to see more Miata content, definitely give this video a thumbs up. I want to see what you guys want to see. If it's this, if it's the 180, the scooter. I know you guys love the tractor content. I know it's more of my style, just hacking things together kind of and then making it work. You guys love to see that I picked it up out of the grass and then I got it here. There was a snake in it. We got it running. We're doing wheelies with it. And yeah, guys, if you want to see some truck stuff, definitely let me know too. So I'm trying to keep you guys in the loop, trying to see what you guys want. And yeah, guys, I think that's about it though. If you guys liked the video, don't forget to give it a thumbs up and hit that like button, subscribe, and we will see you guys in the next one.